Hey there, race fans. It's race day, top five with me, Frank Five. Road course racing in wine country. After a 2-year absence, it felt so nice to be back in the wonderful hills of Northern Carolina where the wine is wonderful, the grapes are growing, and we have road course racing at its best. And honestly, in quite a while, one of the best Sonoma races I've ever seen from a competition standpoint. But you can't beat Hendrick Motorsports right now. They are at the top of their game. Let's talk about that. Number one, Kyle Larson. Boy, oh boy. I mean, we talk about a comeback year in NASCAR after his issue last year. Basically, Kyle Larson isn't making a comeback. He's arrived as one of our stars once again in NASCAR. Dominated today's Toyota Save Mart 350 at Sonoma Raceway, capturing the win, the 270th career win for Hendrick Motorsports, winning it over Chase Elliott, Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Busch, and Joey Logano. Or Logano was fourth, Kyle Busch was fifth. I probably maybe got that wrong, but oh well. Larson was just flat out dominant. Started on the pole based off of his strong performance last week from Charlotte Motor Speedway, winning the Coke 600. Dominated today, won all three stages. Funny thing I recognized during the broadcast today: if you won a stage at Sonoma in the past, when stage racing was presented to NASCAR, you didn't win the race at Sonoma. If you did not capture a stage win, you would end up winning the race at Sonoma. This time, the tables have turned as Kyle Larson swept all the stages today: stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3. And he clearly had the best car. I mean, let's remember, Kyle Larson's not really been known for a road course racer. He's won the last 3 poles here at Sonoma. The problem is he's not getting the race finishes that we would expect him to have with these strong qualifying on the pole. But 2 years ago, the last time we raced in Sonoma, he did end up with the 10th place finish, which I felt like was a relatively good result for a guy starting on the pole and frankly been struggling at road courses. Today, he made the best of it, and I think, honestly, with Hendrick equipment, it makes it even better for him at these road courses. He just flat out dominated today. Had a couple of challenges from Elliott and Truex and other guys for the majority of the race, but when this guy had the fresh rubber on and he was passing guys like crazy, you could hardly keep up with him. There were a couple times on one of those late race restarts where we had a lot of cautions and we kept restarting the race. Elliott kept it close with Kyle Larson for a little bit, but Larson just had the better jump on the restarts. When he gets up to the hill and gets a couple inches ahead of the 9 car, he's basically gone and starts to pull away and had the race in his hand, and he was able to make it work today. I mean, and to win in front of your home crowd, because Larson is from Elk Grove, California, which I think is in the northern area of the state, I believe. I'm not 100% sure, but it's in the state regardless. To win at your home track, one of your 2 home tracks, because he's won at Fontana before, but we didn't race there this year. To win at one of your home tracks in your home state in front of your home crowd, that's pretty special. And a big kudos to Kyle Larson. And ladies and gentlemen, I can officially say right now, based on what I'm seeing, through my opinion, through my eyes, Kyle Larson is the clear-cut favorite to win the championship. I mean, 2017, he was one of the favorites to win the championship better than Truex. This year, right now, I think he's the clear-cut favorite with these Hendrick cars. Kyle Larson is just getting it done, baby. Number 2, driver recap for Chase Elliott. Second place here at Sonoma, our best career finish at this track. I mean, Chase Elliott, he's the road course king. But Sonoma really hasn't been his best road course. I mean, the first time he came here as a rookie, he was just lost, finished 21st. Second time he came here, wrecked his car in practice and went up on to finish 8th in that race. And then in 2018, with differing strategies for the majority of the race, he stayed in top 10 for the most of the race and ended up with a 4th place run. And 2 years ago, the last time we were here, he led a couple of laps and was basically the 3rd best car until an engine failure took him out of the race late in the going. Obviously, last year we didn't get to race here because of COVID and because of California's pretty heavy restrictions when it comes to gatherings and sports in general. But today, Elliott probably put together his best Sonoma race of his entire professional career at this track. Ran in the top 3, 5 pretty much the entire day. I mean, fell back along with Larson and other guys, but because different tire strategies that, guys were different pit strategies compared to other guys that were normal front runners. Elliott led a couple laps today, and it looked like maybe for a little bit that he probably could have been the guy to beat, but Larson was just too dominant, and Elliott gave Larson a run for his money in some of those late race restarts, but couldn't pull through. But nonetheless, another solid run for the 9 team. That's 6 top 10s in a row. That is, I just thought about this today. This is 3 weeks in a row that Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson have both been in the top 2. Elliott won at Coda, and Larson finished 2nd. And of course, Last week and today, Larson's first, Elliott second. These two are clearly the two best cars at Hendrick right now, though Larson's clearly the best at Hendrick by far. But a great performance by the whole 9 team today. There's more road courses coming up. Road Americas in a couple, almost about a month from now, during 4th of July. So expect them to be very competitive in that race, folks. So good job by the whole 9 team today. Number 3, Martin Truex Jr. coming into this weekend looked to go 3 in a row at Sonoma. He won the last 2 times we were here in 2018 and 2019, obviously excluding last year's race not happening whatsoever. Truex had to fight his way to the front today. He started in the 19th position because the last couple races, Martin Truex Jr. has been kind of off his game. So to see him pick up and have a solid performance at one of his best road course tracks in NASCAR, aside from Watkins Glen and maybe even the Roval, he put together a solid performance today, ran up front, battled Larson for the majority of the race. I mean, Larson, Elliott, and Truex, those were the 3 best cars today, by far. And it looked like at times Truex was the man to beat. But Larson got him back. So the 19 team picked up a nice, solid 3rd place finish today and building confidence and momentum back to them because now he and Larson are the only 2 drivers this year that have 3 wins. Probably could see both of those guys in the championship 4 in Phoenix. So we shall see for that whole team. Number 4, pit strategies today. They were all over the place. We saw different guys elect to stay out to pick up some stage points versus other guys that were, fighting for the win. They decided to pit early. A lot of strategies were, mixed bag between stage 1 and stage 2. But when it came to stage 3, there was a lot of late race resource which really changed the outcome about how your race went. I mean, there were guys, Larson, again, as I mentioned, you want to win the race. If you want to win this race, don't win the stage. Kyle Larson won both stages today and won the race. Elliott stayed up there. He finished second in both stages and second in the race. Kind of figures. But other guys that wanted to get some stage points to build themselves closer to the playoff bubble. People like Kurt Busch, Matt DiBenedetto, Eric Jones. Guys that, even though they're down points, they got to at least try something and try to gain some track position. Then we had some cautions play, and some of those guys were able to benefit from that. Some of them were not so lucky. So there's a lot of mixed bag strategies at Sonoma. Sonoma, road course racing can be really interesting when it comes to stage racing. Some people say stage racing doesn't belong to road courses, but it really changed the outcome and can really see can the guys that get bad starting positions work their way to the front because they have good race cars. How will guys learn to try to gain points and maybe try to build their track position versus trying to go for going for the win. There's a lot of different strategies when it comes to road courses, but I felt like it was very intriguing to see guys on different strategies today. Some of them benefited, and again, some of them were not so lucky, but that's road course racing, and that's stage racing at its best for you. And number 5, a lot of good runs today by a lot of guys that really needed it. Let's start with Kurt Busch, 6th place finish. He really needed this, folks, and he's great. He's really good at road course racing. Nobody gives this guy any credit as far as road course. Because if you remember, 10 years ago, driving for Penske, he flat out dominated this race. The car, if you watched it, when it came to the checkered flag, hardly had a scratch because he didn't win the pole. But, he kept it clean. It literally was like the car was rolled off the truck without a single scratch. Just clean as when you get your car washed on and clean it off after collecting some dust and all that. Kurt Busch had a very solid performance today, a 6th place finish and gained some stage points. He's still 63 points out of the cut line, so much like he's going to need to win. But I still believe there are a couple races coming up where Kurt Busch could take advantage and possibly get a win. Because I didn't realize this because I saw it on the pre-race show. Kurt Busch hadn't had a top 10 finish since Homestead, and that was in February. It's been 3 months since Kurt Busch had a top 10. How can a guy who's won a championship and possibly a future Hall of Famer with some of the races he's won and his championship from 2004 not have a top 10 since February? That's hard to believe. I was shell-shocked when I heard that, but he put together a great race today. His teammate Ross Chastain, who had a late race scuffle at the end of the race with Kevin Harvick and William Byron and others, he was able to come away with a 7th place finish. The Ganassi guys had a great day today. Both drivers finished in the top 10 for the first time this season in a race. First race where we had both the Ganassi cars in the top 10 in the same race. That's pretty awesome. A lot of other guys like runs. Daniel Suarez at one point almost had a top 10, but he fell back and finished 12th at the end of the race. But nonetheless, it was a good result. Eric Jones finished 11th place for Richard Petty Motorsports, and he was top 15 for the majority of the race, which was Very, very interesting on his part. There were a lot of guys that needed really good runs today, and a lot of them really got it. Some guys that were battling up front, like for track position. There was Corey LaJoie who was up there. Anthony Alfredo and Chase Briscoe, our two rookie contenders, never driven on this track at all. No practice, no qualifying whatsoever. And both of them did a good job today. They didn't get the finishes, but they definitely did well for their first appearance at Sonoma. And last year's rookie class didn't get to run here at all. Bell, Custer, Reddick, they were all top 10 at one point today. They all did a really good job. Bell had to rebound from an electrical issue early in the race. He fought his way up to the top 10, but he was part of some of those late race incidents, including one with Anthony Alfredo. Tyler Reddick was in position for a top 5 late. He stayed out only because he didn't have any fresh tires left, so he couldn't take any. So you had to use your worn out tires, and those tires today were cooked after long runs. I mean, good Lord, Kyle Busch had one. I saw a tire come off a Kyle Busch's car that I hadn't seen literally ever. I mean, that tire was like, I didn't even sort of go, maybe want to cover my eyes. But yeah, I mean, good results by a lot of guys that really needed it, and good runs by guys that deserved it, fell out of their lap, and they couldn't control it. But it was some good racing all in all at Sonoma. So that's it for the Sonoma recap. This is Fox Sports NASCAR's last points race broadcast for the season. They still have one more broadcast left to go, and that is next week in the Lone Star State, Fort Worth, Texas at Texas Motor Speedway. Why? Because next week, folks, it's All-Star Weekend, as a lot of drivers will be going for $1.1 million. There's a lot of money on the line in the Lone Star State, and I know a lot of you are probably thinking, really? Texas Motor Speedway? That track has not been relevant since it got repaved. Well, I feel like we're kind of basically putting the All-Star race anywhere we want now. We had it at Bristol last year. We're doing it at Texas this year. That's probably going to change next year, but let's see what happens. I mean, again, we don't have a points race at the Texas Motor Speedway till the playoffs in the fall. So we'll see how this race shapes out. We'll see how the aero package benefits this race. We'll see how the PJ1 goes. But I mean, turn 1 and 2 is going to be basically a crapshoot. It's going to be a wild card. So your drivers that fail to capitalize with a win today, that haven't yet to win this year or win the All-Star race in general, you're going to have to be one of those stage winners in the All-Star Open before the All-Star race. But there's another way you can get in via the fan vote. Fans, start getting in your votes in for your favorite driver that's not in the race yet or possibly may not win the Open in general. Get those votes in, because if you want that driver to be in the All-Star race, you got to go online and vote now. I'm thankful I don't have to worry about Chase Elliott, because as a recent winner of the All-Star race, he's guaranteed to run in this thing for the rest of his career. That's the beauty part about winning the All-Star race. When you win it, you have an automatic ticket to come back to the All-Star race every single year until you decide to hang up your driving uniform and your helmet. So All-Star race, I think, will be very interesting next weekend. We will see what happens in the Lone Star State. And, of course, this is the last year that Eddie Gossage, the president of Texas Motor Speedway, will be our president of that facility, because after the year is done in the fall, he will be retiring and hand it over to the next guy in charge. So, Eddie, let's give you a proper send-off with hopefully an exciting and thrilling All-Star race. So, thanks for all tuning in to the the Sonoma race today. Really good racing overall. I thought definitely better than the one 2 years ago when we last ran there, especially with the keyhole section. That definitely, probably a lot of people thought, like, after that race 2 years ago, probably like, we have to go to the keyhole again. This actually racing day was so much better than the previous 1 2 years ago. So subscribe, like, congrats to Kyle Larson and Hendrick Motorsports. They are on a roll right now, and I'll see you all next week in the recap All-Star Night.